welcome. Give me un momento. How are you all doing? If you guys are here now live with me, say hi. So today's a Q&A. I've got a couple of questions down. I'm just having a look on Instagram. I posted on Instagram if you've got any questions about manifestation and mindset, if you want me to answer it. So I'm just going to check that there's no more that came through, so give me 1 sec. My phone fell in my hand before and it's throbbing, but we're great. So how are you guys doing? Thank you so much for being here. If you're watching the replay, please say hi as well. And I want you guys to put down what you're manifesting in the comment section. So what are you manifesting for 2022, whether it be for February or just throughout the whole year? Let me know. Whoa. Okay. Sorry guys, just give me 1 more second. If you guys are tuning in now, hello, welcome, say hi. Or if you're watching the replay, please do say hi too. I'm just gonna see if there are any, because I did do this quite late notice. So if you have any questions that you'd like me to answer, just let me know in the comments as well, and I'll probably answer them. I'll do another Q&A and I'll answer them. But thank you guys so much for being here. I can't see that there's been any more questions. So I've got a couple of questions here. So thank you so much for tuning in. Before I get into this, this is really funny. The other night I was just laying in bed and I was just sitting there thinking, and I don't know if you guys can relate to this, like sometimes I just lay there and I'm just like, all these things come to mind, and I call them downloads. And this one in particular thing that came to mind, I was like, I have to share with you guys. What was it? Oh, it was like an aha moment. It was like, what the hell? Like, everything we're experiencing is through thought, right? Like, bear with me for a second. I'm going to try to explain this as best as I can. Everything that we're experiencing is through thought. So when we go up to get, say, something to eat, we think about going up, going to the refrigerator and getting something to eat, and then we think about eating. Everything we do is from thought alone. So if you can imagine that we literally live our life, we live our experience, our very existence is through thought. How incredible is that? Because how powerful we are, because we're creating thoughts. So this just like blew my mind. Like, we are the creators of our reality. And this was just like a big aha moment, because I'm like, everything we do is through thought. We think about going to sleep. We think about going to the shops. We think about going for a walk. Like, everything we do is through a thought. So if you can imagine that we have the creative power to think of whatever the frick we want, then we can create our reality just as easy. Does that make sense? That was like, I was sitting there going, oh my God, we are so much more powerful than we think. And that's what I was like, holy fuck. We experience things through thought. And our thoughts are what create our reality, what we experience. Without thought, we don't experience anything. We don't give meaning to anything unless it all starts with a thought, right? Wow. I don't know if that hit you like it hit me. So yeah, everything we experience, it's through a thought, and we have the full ability to create whatever thoughts we want. But we're just so used to like running on autopilot. We're so used to letting our mind just like think thoughts for us through our subconscious mind. So when we can change to our conscious mind, when we can deliberately, consciously start thinking, then that's when we can consciously create and manifest a life that we want. So anyway, I'd like you to sit with that one for a bit and really soak that in, because everything we experience is from thought. Everything. And our thoughts are our own thoughts. They're ours. They're no one else's. So that just like goes to show just how freaking, powerful and creative we are. Okay. So I've got the questions. Also, I'm sorry about the location that I'm in at the moment on my bed. I haven't quite set up properly yet, so bear with me. Okay, so the first question I got, so like I said, if you have any other questions, feel free to put them in the comments below, because I did this quite quickly, so I am more than happy to answer your questions. I can do a separate live, I can answer them in the comments, whatever you want me to do, just feel free to do that. So the first question I got was, wanting to start a business but I'm scared of failing and taking the leap. This is like huge, because this is something that I had experienced like probably a year and a half ago now. And there's a couple of things that I want to talk about in this particular topic. So first of all, the word failure is just really a word. So when I break down failure, I break it down into really two components. And the first one is that we can only fail if we give up. If we give up, then we're failing. But also, when I also think of that, I'm also like, we can give up and then we can try again. So then technically we're not really failing. So it's like, that word to me, I just hate using. And the second reason is that the reason why we fear of failing is because there's obviously like meaning behind the word failing. Like there's obviously a meaning behind, or a reasoning behind why we're scared of doing that thing. And so for example, for me, when I first started, I had a huge fear of failing, because I was scared of, having all these expectations and not being able to do that thing, right? Like I wanted to start a business and earn a certain amount of money, do this and do that, but I was scared that I wasn't going to be able to reach that. Now that in itself is just literally breaking down the reasoning, the things behind, the limiting beliefs, the conditioning and the fears that we have around what's stopping us from being able to do what we want to do. And in this case, it's starting a business. So when we say that we're scared of failing, but why? What are we actually scared of failing for? What is it? Could it be that we're scared that our parents are going to judge us, or that our family and friends are going to judge us? Are you scared to like put expectations on yourself and not being able to reach them? And that could be that you've done this in the past and it's gone wrong. Does that make sense? Like you've tried to maybe start a business up before and it's just gone horribly wrong. So there's always a reason behind. We say that we're fear of failing, and that's why it's always really important to like break down the layers of what's actually going on behind why you're scared of failing. So like for me, like I said before, it was just that I was scared that I was going to put these expectations on myself and that I wasn't going to succeed. Because I've had time and time again in my life when I was younger where I'd experienced these things and I'd given up. And it could be just literally as simple as like you making a promise to yourself that you're going to start working out, and then you give up after like 2 days. That in itself is like showing, it's proving to yourself that, you know, you're not capable. You think that you're not capable of achieving that. So it's like little things like that. So there's always a reason behind why you're scared of failing. It's not the fact that you're actually scared of failing, because like I said, there's absolutely no way you can fail. The only way you fail is if you give up or you don't try, right? Because then you're going nowhere. So yeah, so that's the two. And there's also one other one that the main, it kind of ties in with the second thing that I said. It's that most of us just don't feel worthy. We don't feel worthy or good enough to do the things that we want to do. And for starting a business, a big thing that I had to work through is not feeling worthy enough. I had all these like self-doubts creeping up in my mind, thinking like people won't want to listen to me. You know, I was scared of feeling judged, like, you know, all these things just like kept creeping up, and it was because I didn't feel worthy. I didn't feel like I was good enough to actually do the things that I wanted to do. So that's that part of wanting to start a business, and taking the leap. So a big, huge thing for me that I wish I'd have done a lot sooner is that we make up so many reasons as to why we can't start a business. And for me, it took me about 6 months to a year to start it. I would have started 6 months earlier to a year earlier, but I was like, I had in my mind that I had to get all these things done first. And I was like building my website, building this program, and like I hadn't even started getting my name out there. Like I just was like, I needed it all to be perfect, and I spent so long trying to get this website perfected when it was like I just wasted all this time because I didn't need, it's not necessary to have to get these things going before you start. The main thing is just taking that leap and start. It's just going out there and starting. You don't need all these rule books. It's like, it's really annoying when I see like these business coaches and stuff like that saying you have to do this, this and this. It's like, it's bullshit. It's not true. It's absolutely not true. If it doesn't align with you, then don't freaking do it. And I've spent so much money on all these different business coaches, and to find out that like none of them resonate with me, because I already know deep down what I need to do. Like everything I need, it's already within me. I've said that like every single video that I've done. We don't need these outside resources. They're here to help, to guide us, right? They're here for, you know, the tools that we need. But really, like, all you need to do is you just need to start it up. You just need to go for it. And the reason why we make up all these excuses, it's because there's obviously some underlying fear or things that are stopping us, and this is where we procrastinate. Procrastination is not that you're lazy. It's just that there's something stopping you from being able to go out there and start your business or do the thing that you're wanting to do. Procrastination just means that there's like a block. So when I procrastinated with my business because I was scared to show up. I was scared to be seen. I was scared to own my voice because I was so used to fitting in, dimming my light. And so it's really important that when we're procrastinating to really ask ourselves, what are we scared of? What are the areas in our life that we're, scared to show up? So for business, if you're procrastinating, then there could be an area in your life where you're like, you're scared to show up. You're scared to go on and do lives. I was petrified of doing some lives. Like, I was so freaking scared. And that used to stop me. I used to procrastinate because, I just was like holding off from, trying to do lives because it scared the shit out of me and it made me feel so uncomfortable. And that's why when we push ourselves and we take that leap, it's so scary, but it's so necessary, because if we don't take that leap, then we're just going to kind of stay stagnant. And I think the main thing with us being so scared to take the leap is that we are so scared to get into that unknown, and our body and our mind likes to keep us feeling safe, and it doesn't want us to do anything unfamiliar, because then it can't protect us. This is our ego talking, right? Our ego likes to keep us feeling safe and small, but when we're doing something that, you know, is so out there, like going live, doing a, you know, starting up your business, the reason why we are so scared, the reason why we hold back, and the reason why we're scared to take that leap is because stepping into the unknown is really scary to us. It's not comfortable to us. Our ego can't protect us. So that's why I think it's just really important to do that. When I first started my business, and I was like, even as simple as like uploading a photo, I remember I used to be so scared of what people would think. And so I would, because my ego was so strong at the time, it always talked myself out of doing it. And so I got into this, like, I used to trick my ego where I wouldn't even give myself time. So I would like have the photo ready, I would have the write up, but because I was so scared at the time, I would just like kind of push it, leave it, and then I would get into a space where I was so like, I was like, nah, I'm gonna do this. It was like a space, and this is where I used to meditate, and I used to get really obviously I still do it, but I'd get into a meditative state so my ego couldn't take over. And then the moment I got into that state, I pressed post on the Instagram post, and then because it didn't allow enough time for the ego to talk myself out of it. So it's really important to just freaking take the leap, step into that unknown, because that's where growth happens. And it's so freaking powerful when you get into the space of feeling uncomfortable, because these things will come up that you need to work through. And that's a perfect time to work through the stuff that is coming up. So if you're trying to start your business and you're so scared of failing, that's the perfect opportunity to be like, okay, what is coming up for me? Like, why am I so scared of failing? Could it be that I'm scared of actually being seen? Or could it be scared that, you know, I've had in the past where I've started businesses and they've gone nowhere? So give yourself the time and the opportunity, and open up and be vulnerable in a way of these things that are coming up, and then work through to release them. So I hope that's helped in the first question. So number 2 is how to have trust in your manifestation. Okay. So I think trust is a huge thing when it comes to knowing your self-worth. And because if you don't have that like self-worth and that self-love, the confidence within, then you will not trust your manifestations. So I would say for someone, before I get into that actually, for someone who is starting to manifest, if we're just thinking about the manifestation side of things, I would always start small. So start manifesting free coffee, start manifesting free food. It could be a text message from someone that, you know, could just be a friend. So something where you don't have a lot of attachment to it, because the more you do it, the more you'll start to trust that, oh my God, it's actually, you know, it actually works, and I have the power to freaking manifest. How freaking awesome is that? So for me, I started with coffees. I started with text messages. I started with manifesting free gifts, free hampers all the time, flowers, things like that. But make sure it's not from someone who you really like and you want them to show you attention. It's someone who you have like the least resistance around. So it could be from your mum or your dad or whatever, like, or a random, a friend, a stranger. Stranger's a good one. So always build up the trust in yourself with your manifestations that way, because sometimes we're so used to I just spat. Ugh. We're so used to our analytical mind that we always need to find out the how, we need to find out evidence. So if we start out small, then it really doesn't matter. And most of the time we forget that we've been trying to manifest a free coffee and it just happens. So that's the first part to that. But going back to the self-love and the self-worth, I think it's so freaking important that we work on ourselves. And when I mean by working on ourselves, I mean by like building up that trust, building up our value and our relationship with ourselves. Because if we don't like have that trust, if we don't love ourselves, if we don't value ourselves, then when we're manifesting, when we're going to have all the doubt creep up. We're not going to trust and fully believe that we can really manifest. And like I said, I've said this like a bazillion times before. Everything I teach, it's all based on my own experience. So I went through this when I first started manifesting. I was trying to manifest a big amount of money, a relationship, all these things, right? Like what we all want. And I kept getting so frustrated because like I just couldn't trust myself. Like I just didn't think that I was able to do it, and I had no confidence back then. I had no self-worth. I didn't love myself. I didn't take any time. I had no, I let people walk all over me. And this is why it's so important to dedicate time to your own self-love, self-healing, all of that. And I recently have created a course, a masterclass course around building confidence. So please do check that out. It will be up hopefully really soon. It's all ready to go. It's just a matter of putting it together. But I created this course around self-worth because a big thing in manifestation and mindset is that we need to have that relationship with ourselves above anyone else. We are so conditioned and programmed to think that we need to put other people before ourselves, and that we need to prioritize other people, and we are so used to putting other people on pedestals, and we spend very little time on ourselves. And I think it's really sad to think that society has taught us to be like that, because the moment I started working on myself, the more I started to value myself and think that I'm actually worthy, I'm actually capable of achieving these things. And when you go through this stage, you'll then look at your manifestations and be like, I can actually manifest so much more. I can manifest bigger things. And then you start to you start to dream bigger. You start to realize that, hey, I'm worth so much more than just working that 9-to-5 job. I actually want to live my mission. I want to live a life with freedom and abundance, rather than living a life under being controlled by someone else. So it's just self-worth is so important. So that's why I think it's really important to do that. Take some time, go for a walk, take a bath, dance, do things that really make you feel good. And also setting boundaries is a huge one. Setting boundaries is so big. We need to set boundaries, and especially if you're an empath, if you know you're an empath, you will understand that like your energy will get drained so fast. Your energy will just like, you will feel so depleted at the end of the day, because you're so used to giving. Because you're an empath, you just naturally just give off that energy and you want to help everyone. So it's really important to set boundaries so that you're protecting your energy and you're cleansing your energy as well. So your self-worth is incredibly powerful and potent for when you're trying to manifest. And so being able to build that up, you're able to build up the trust. Like, your manifestation game will completely change when you take the time and you put in the work for yourself. And you will see, like, once you do the inner work, once you start to prioritize yourself, because your life is just a reflection of you, you will see things will start to change. When I started prioritizing myself first, when I started placing boundaries, I started saying no to things that didn't resonate with me, and I started taking time out of my day for myself, because I think it's really important that we have some alone time. I started to like see a huge shift in, you know, my reality, because my inner being, my inner self-worth, my priority was on myself. And so people are going to prioritize this up to you, because it's just it's a mirror, it's a reflection. So this is how to have trust in your manifestation. So number one is to start small. Start manifesting things that, you know, you have no resistance over. So free coffee, free gifts, free text messages from someone. Oh, not a text message from someone. Free flowers, anything. Excuse me. And you'll build your manifestation up that way. But in saying that, also, which is number two, also really do the self-love routine, or do your self-love, practice your self-worth, because your self-worth is what's really ultimately going to reflect out. So if you don't have that trust within you to be able to manifest $10,000, then you're not going to be able to manifest it. It all comes from a place of trust and value. And being able to do that, you need to build that up, because like I said, we're so used to focusing on other people. It's time to start prioritizing ourselves. And by doing that, it's like taking time for yourself, and putting you as your number one priority. And this is what I go through in my Confidence Masterclass course, which I talk all about boundary setting. I talk about my 3-step process, which is like freaking awesome. It's my 3-step process that helped me build confidence and self-worth. And I include like breath work practices. It's just awesome. Like, it's a really awesome course. So if that's something that you're interested in, then please DM me, because it's not available yet, but it will be available very, very soon. Okay. So my next question is how to overcome doubt and lack that your manifestation is coming. So kind of what I said in question 2. The reason why we have doubt and lack is because we don't trust. So yeah, the reason why we doubt and we lack that our manifestation is coming is because, one, like I said before, we don't have that trust within ourselves that we can manifest that. But also another thing that I think is really important, and something that I find a lot of us do, is that we rely so heavily on our 3D reality. So let's say that you're trying to manifest something, and I see this so commonly, and I used to do this, so no judges, is that we want to manifest something, and then we look because we want it so badly, because it's like a place from desperation. And this is like money. Money is a perfect example. When we're trying to manifest money, we're manifesting because we don't have a lot, right? So we're in a place where we're like, I need money. So then we try to manifest money, but because we're manifesting from a place of lack, because we don't have it, then we're only creating more lack. So for us to be able to change our mindset around money or trying to manifest the money, we first have to get the intention right. What are we trying to manifest? Okay, we're trying to manifest however much money, $10,000. That is very set in stone. And then the second step is getting really clear, is really embodying, right? The feelings, getting the feelings down pat. And the feelings is ultimately just being the version of you that has your manifestation. And the reason why this is so important is because when we're in 5D, right, we're accessing, there are all these like parallel realities that are happening all in one time. So when we are manifesting, when we're trying to manifest something like money, when we're tapping into the frequency and the energetic state of having the money, which is ultimately just being the version of us that has the money, then we are tapping into that reality. Now, all realities are available. They all exist all in one time, instantaneously. That's the 5th dimension. But the problem, so once we've done that, what happens is then we look through our 3D lens, right? We look at what's going on now. Maybe we look at our bank account. We're like, I don't have a lot of money. We then go back to the old reality of not having much money. So we're constantly like going back and forth between the realities of, one here is like we're manifesting as though we have the money, and then the other we're not. So we keep changing realities. We keep changing timelines. So if you keep doing that, which is where the reason why we go back is because we doubt, is because we analyze, because we're so used to our analytical mind. We're looking in our physical existence right now that, hey, I'm looking at my bank account and I don't have any money. Then we're going back to the old version of us, which is that reality. So in order for us to manifest this $10,000, we have to stay in that reality, in that timeline. And the more we can stay in that timeline, the quicker we're going to be able to manifest it. And when you're in that timeline, this is where action becomes aligned. We then, because we're like, okay, well, we have all this money, then we can take action accordingly. So if you're trying to pay your bills, you won't be paying your bills as though, just imagine if you had $10,000 already right now, you were paying bills, you wouldn't be paying bills as though I don't have any money. Does that make sense? So if you are trying to manifest $10,000, then it's about getting into that timeline of having that money. How do we do that? We set the intention, okay, I want $10,000. We then fully embody the feeling of already having the $10,000. So how would you act? How would you talk? How would you feel? You would feel free, you'd feel happy, you'd feel abundant, whatever, right? And then, because you're in that timeline of having that $10,000, you would then act according to having the $10,000. So you wouldn't be paying your bills with resistance, you'd be paying your bills with ease. So I hope that kind of makes sense, right? So when we're doubting, what was the other one? Doubting and lack. So when we're doubting and we're lacking, it's because we keep going back into the old timeline. We keep going back into the fear of lacking and not having, and where is it, and I want it and I need it. So it's about staying in that timeline. Now, with that being said, I forget to breathe when I talk because I'm like so passionate. So with that being said, there are obviously certain beliefs, right? Certain beliefs that kind of like help us to go back to the old reality, if that makes sense. there are always these certain beliefs and identities that we carry with us, or that we identify as, that make us, that, you know, could also be why we are going back to our old reality. And things like, if we're talking about money, if you look back in your childhood, your parents you may have seen your parents struggle with money. You may have seen your parents work really, really hard, or complain a lot about not having a lot of money. So at a young age, you would have really taken in these beliefs of not having a lot of money. Money's hard to earn, money's hard to make. I have to work really hard, I have to work multiple jobs. And therefore, that becomes your belief, and you identify as someone as like, oh my God, I need to work really hard. I need to work really hard. Okay, the screen went really dark, and I'm wondering if it's because I was just wondering if my phone was dying. So, yes, so we tend to have these beliefs that are stopping us from being able to manifest certain things, because we're so conditioned and so used to holding, you know, truly believing and identifying ourselves as this person of not having a lot of money. So it's about really cleaning up the beliefs. It's about stripping the old layers of old self identities, and you know, removing the extra coats, I like to call, like the extra layers of coats. It's about removing them so that we're able to, I guess, tap into that timeline, that reality of us having the $10,000 a lot easier, with a lot more confidence. And I feel like doing the self-worth, doing the self, you know, the prioritizing yourself and putting yourself first and all those things, it's really going to help you work through your beliefs as well. This is what I teach. This is how I help my clients. And I find the one common thing is that a lot of people do not have much self-worth. They don't prioritize themselves. They don't put themselves first. They don't think that their mindset, that they don't think that their that, you know, their own self-development journey is worth the time and effort. And if that's the case, then how are you going to be able to manifest when you have like very low confidence, low self-worth, and you have all this doubt and lack creeping in? So it all kind of conjuncts like in together. So I hope that makes sense. So I would say how to overcome doubt and lack, to sum it all up, is, yes, being able to get really clear on what you want to manifest. Feel into the version of you that already has the manifestation, and that could be visualization, that could be meditation, that could be journaling, whatever feels right for you. And then the action will come according to the version of you that already has it. So if it's $10,000 that you're manifesting, it's really important to stay into that timeline. The more you stay into that timeline, the easier, the quicker your manifestation is going to come, and everything will fall into a place. Like, you will see everything will just literally line up. And if you are struggling and you keep going back to the old self, it's because you have these beliefs and these old like layers of identity that needs to be stripped away, so that you can stay into that reality of you having that manifestation. Life right now is just old manifestations. Everything we're manifesting, whether we want to or not, it's all manifestations. So why not like consciously, purposely manifest the life that we want? But it's gonna take some work. I'm telling you right now, it will take some work, but it's worth it. It's so freaking worth it in the end. Okay. Oh, sorry, I keep moving because my legs cramp up. I did a booty workout this morning and my butt's so sore. Alright. I've got one more question here, so that's perfect, because I don't want it to bore you guys, or I don't want it to go for too long. So the last question I have here is number one tip to manifesting. Number one tip. It's really hard because there's like, to sum it in one tip, I've got two. Two will be, yeah. We'll sum it down to two. So the first one, so my first tip to manifesting is, sorry, the first tip to manifesting is consistency, and it's, consistency is so key. Like, we manifest, I see this all the time, we'll manifest something, someone will try to manifest something and they'll give up after 2 seconds because they look at, you know, they'll be like, it's not working, because they'll like look at their 3D reality or whatever, and they'll go, nah, it's not working, I can't do this, and they'll give up. So I think consistency is key, and consistency is like with everything. Like when we work out, we want to see results, it's consistency. Your mindset is always going to be something that you'll be forever working on. Your soul's purpose is always growing. Like you're always going to be growing and expanding and learning things and going through like another spiritual awakening or an ego death. Like we don't just learn something and then that's it, like, you know, we're done learning. Like, we're always learning. So for us to consistently be doing the work, and like whether that be like working on our mindset, working on our personal development, so, you know, setting the boundaries, meditating. Like meditating, it's not like you meditate once and then you're always going to have to meditate, right? Because one day you might wake up and you're amazing, but then the next day you might feel like shit. So the things that we do in life, it's like we'll be doing for the rest of our life. It's just like brushing our teeth. So I think it's just so important that we're constantly doing the work that we need to get our mindset right. And this is like, you know, shedding the beliefs, shedding the old self identities or aspects of self, constantly being very cautious and aware of our thoughts, yeah, and doing all those things, like doing these practices. I have non-negotiables that I do every single day, and that's like meditation, that's breath work, it could be going for a walk, like it's always different, but I always have to be doing something. Otherwise, if I don't do it, then like all shit hits the fan. Like I have a really bad day and I feel like shit and I'm like, what the hell am I doing? So that's why I think it's really important that the more we're consistent, the more growth, the more results we're going to achieve. And yeah, it's like everything we do with consistency. So that's my number one tip. My number two tip, because there's two number ones, is that remembering that you are in control of your reality. You are in control. And the more we remember that we're in control of our reality, the more we're taking responsibility. It's so easy for us to just like become a victim or fall a victim to our life and to our experiences and things like that. And when we take responsibility, we're taking our power back, we're taking control, and this is where we are so freaking powerful, because we're creating our reality. We're able to create the things we want in our life. And if you have something that happens in your life that's negative, right, or traumatic, it's like you can choose to, I have these conversations all the time with people, yes, you may not have had control of a situation, something bad that's happened in your life that's traumatic. However, you have control of how you choose to react to it. So if something has happened that could have been traumatic, you can look at it as though, okay, well, how is this a lesson in my life? Or how could I better from, like, it's always important that when we experience something like that, rather than just completely falling a victim and giving our power away by going, well, this happened to me, life's unfair, blah, blah, blah. If we can take responsibility and go, okay, well, this has happened because there's something that I need to learn, there's something that I need, there's something that I need to heal, or there's a lesson in this particular thing that, or event that has happened, you're taking back your power and you're able to grow from that. And I'm a big believer that we have contracts, we have soul contracts, like we have certain things that have already been contracted in our life. And let's say like something really traumatic that happened in your life, you agreed for that to happen. And the reason why is probably because something crazy, like something amazing will happen out of it. And a lot of the times people go through so much, someone might go through like a really, really traumatic event, but then they go through their spiritual awakening because of it. So there's always something to take from things that happen. There's always a lesson, there's always a take home, I guess, from things that happen in life. But we have the choice on whether we want to be like, it happened and life's happening for us, like blah, blah, blah. Or we can take responsibility and go, okay, well, how can I learn from this? You know, how did this thing happen for me rather than to me? And this is where growth and expansion comes from. So they're my two lessons. Number one is consistency, because like anything, the more you're consistent, the more you're going to be able to achieve the results. This is with mindset, personal development, spiritual, emotional, energetic, everything, right? Consistency will get you results. Like another thing with consistency is like with business. People start up a business and they're like, oh, maybe after 2 days, and to be honest, I did this. I literally did this. After 2 days, 3 days or whatever, I had a course and I was just like, I published it or advertised it, and then after 2 days I was like, nah, no one's buying it. This is bullshit. I'm giving up. So consistency, the more you do it, the more you get your name out there, the more people are going to be attracted to you. So consistency. And then number two was, you are the powerful one. Take back your powerful. You are the one that's creating your reality. So the more we take responsibility, the less we're giving our power away. So that is all the questions that I have. Thank you so much for being here. It's probably been going for ages. If you're watching the replay, I would love for you guys to, if you have any questions, please put them down below, because I kind of did this really fast and I didn't really allow much time for people to put in their questions. I want you guys, let's say this again. I want to know what you guys are manifesting. So let me know if you can comment below. I'd love to know what you guys are manifesting. If you're wanting more information on my self-confidence, which is self-worth course, where it's like a webinar that I did, a pre-recorded webinar where I talk all about confidence, how to increase confidence. I talk about like the trauma and the inner wounded child and how that all relates to confidence. So I talk at least over 6 topics. I have hypnotherapy practices, I have breathwork practices, and I also talk about manifestation as well. So there's so much in there that if this interests you, then DM me, because I'll give you the information, because it's not quite out yet. And if you want, if you like what I have to say, then join my Instagram, because I usually do my Q&As there. Like if you've got any questions and things like that, I'll post it on Instagram. And lastly, I have my YouTube channel as well, which I'm going live, like not live, sorry, I post like really helpful mindset, manifestation and spirituality things every single week. So check that out if that interests you. And thank you so much for being here. If you've stayed till the end, like, you guys are amazing. And I will see you all next time. Go for a walk, enjoy the sun if it's sunny, take some time for yourself, run a bath, listen to music, sing, bake, do whatever makes you feel good. Make sure you're prioritizing time for yourself, because you are so worth it and you are your #1 priority. Remember, you are worthy, you are loved. I love you, and I'll see you next time.